Did you say we had quorum?
We have a quorum.
Okay, great. Well, aloha, and can we commence then?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm calling the meeting to order. It's 12:08 on February 6th. Good afternoon, everyone. Generally, I start with a olelo no eau. Let's go to roll call first, and then I'll do the olelo no eau afterwards. So I'm not sure who's here yet. I see names, but I can't see all the faces, I guess. Let me start with David.
Present.
Thank you. John,
I'm present.
Rosalind,
Present.
Gary, not here. Is Nancy on the, I don't see her. Is she present? Oh, there she is. Nancy?
Present.
Okay, I'm the chair, Charles Young. We have a quorum then. We have excused absences of Heather Carodi and an unexcused of Marissa Bankston, if I'm correct. Okay, I'd like the staff to introduce yourselves as well. We start with Michelle.
I'm Deputy Corporation Counsel, Michelle An.
Planning.
Good afternoon, Janice Haza, Long Range Division of the Planning Department, here in the West Hawaii Civic Center.
Jessica Lahip, long range planning staff.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mariam Palma, Planning Department.
Aloha, Kovelo Kalili, Planning Department.
Thank you. All so my olelo no eau today is actually something from Kona. It's ke kope ho'o hia'a maka o Kona. And what it translates to literally is the coffee of Kona that keeps the eyes from sleeping. I think most of you who drink coffee will probably attest to that. But the underlying reason is that because not only coffee keeps you awake at night, but love does also. So the hidden meaning is that it's not just coffee that keeps one awake in Kona. So let's have some love at this meeting. Okay, housekeeping. Cell phones off, please, or on silent mode. If there's anyone who would like to testify, please sign up if you're in person, or I guess you have to indicate or have logged in earlier to speak on Zoom. But this meeting is open to everyone, so if you haven't signed up yet, please do so, somehow indicating that you want to sign up. If you're on Zoom, please speak clearly so we can hear you all. So announcement, Zareen Dorabji has resigned from the Kona CDP Action Committee. Can I ask how many do we have now? We're back down to 8. Am I correct, or Marianne?
Yeah, we have 8 members, of which, let me pull up, of which 4 are holdovers.
Okay, and quorum still remains at 5.
That is my understanding, yes.
Thank you. Do any committee members or staff have any other announcements to make? Okay, if not, we'll get into the approval of the minutes. This is it's 12:12 p.m. We'd like to consider approving the draft minutes from, January 8th. So the meetings were circulated via email, posted on January 30th. So I'd like to get a motion to approve.
So moved. Nancy makes the motion to approve the minutes.
And I'll second it.
Okay, so it's open for discussion. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any comments, additions, corrections? We'll give you a few minutes. So if there's no discussion or changes, I'll just call for the question. All in favor of approving the minutes for the January 8th, 2024 meeting of the Action Committee, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Miriam, do you want a roll call on that, or is just the ayes fine since we're on Zoom? And
I'll defer to Michelle, but I believe we don't need to do a roll call.
okay,
The minutes should reflect the way that everybody voted on every motion. So yes, a roll call, please.
Okay.
Nancy, start with you.
I'm in favor of passing the minutes from the January 8th meeting.
John,
I'm also in favor of passing the minutes.
David,
Aye.
yeah, it looks like you're frozen there. Rosalind,
I'm in favor.
okay, and I vote in favor as well. So the minutes pass unanimously.
I'd like to take a moment to ask the committee members that are on Zoom if they could please keep their camera on. Per sunshine, members appearing remotely must keep their cameras on and announce to anyone who is with them except for minors in their location.
Thank you, Marion.
Okay, so as far as public testimony on agenda items, we can call for statements from the public now on any, for those of you who either signed up in person or on Zoom. If you would care to share that now, but if there's anyone here who would like to testify when we get on to the agenda item itself, I'm also pretty laxed about that as well. So is there any public testimony who would like to come forward now? And I guess we've collected names from those in person first.
Chair, this is Chuck Flaherty. I'd like to testify, please.
Okay, we were going to take the guys in person first, Chuck, and I'm not sure that anybody's there. But
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. No worries.
No public testimony in Kona.
Okay. Go ahead, Chuck.
Mahalo, Chair Young. Aloha, my name is Chuck Flaherty. I'm Captain Cook. I'm testifying on the general plan agenda item. I'm glad that the Kona Community Development Plan Action Committee is finally considering the general plan and providing comments on it. I'm very concerned about the lateness of it, given the March 1st deadline. It's my understanding that you will be able to still submit comments, but I don't know if they will be incorporated into the draft if they're submitted after March 1st. The main reason I'm testifying is because of the universal complaints and limitations that have been inherent on using the online platform and the two different softwares that members of the public must learn, review, and comment on is in order to comment on changes to the 2005 general plan and the land use maps. What we would like to see is a listing of all the changes by parcel that was made to the land use maps with an explanation of each of those changes, as was done when the 2005 general plan came out, draft came out. The changes from the 1989 plan were indicated and explained. In addition, currently, the way that it's been presented, the 2045 general plan draft, it's impossible for the public to know what changes have been made from the existing general plan's goals, policies, standards, courses of action, general plan amendment procedures, amendment to land use designations, and the changes to the land use pattern allocation guide maps, which are now called land use maps in the current draft. We really don't really understand how, without this frame of reference, how can we know and understand what and why changes have been made? How can we make informed comments on the general plan? Is it the draft? Is it better? Is it worse? Without these changes being identified and explained, the Leeward and Windward Planning Commissions and County Council will be facing the same challenges as well. Many members of the public and organizations, including the Hawaii Island Group, continue to do their best to make comments, provide their knowledge, expertise, and experience for the betterment of the general plan comprehensive review process despite these changes. So it's imperative that the planning department be more considerate of those for whom they work and take immediate action to address the three issues of dealing with the complexity of the online platform, which, by the way, was mostly used within governmental agencies and businesses, has only been used on a few occasions for gathering public comment, and it was done so in a way in which sections of documents or plans were presented at meetings, and it was done that way rather than everything being presented in addition to the two different softwares. There's a software for the text part, and then there's another software for the land use map. So we just don't think it's a very democratic and inclusive way that it's being handled. And I know that y'all, the action committee, is going to be facing these same challenges, and we appreciate the effort that you will be making as volunteers from the community and sharing your expertise. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck. Is there anyone else want to make comments on any of the agenda items? If not, then I'll go to the business. The first order of business was scheduling of future Kona CDP Action Committee meetings. This is a discussion and decision-making regarding the scheduling, logistics, and format of future meetings. So I'm going to open that up for discussion. I think we had some feedback from staff that meetings every other month were probably more likely for them, and I think there was some discussion with AC members that they may want to have meetings, the cadence be on a monthly basis. So I'll open that up to any of the council members first, or the committee members first.
Charlie?
Yes,
Yancy?
Nancy.
This is Nancy. I haven't been coming too long, and I know you established the every other month pattern before I started coming to the meetings on a regular basis. But at that time, we also were operating our sort of symbolic subcommittees, our pigs. And as people were commenting that that's where a lot of the work would happen, would be outside of these meetings, during those meetings, the Open Space Network meeting and the newly formed community outreach meeting, and that would happen in the empty month and when we weren't meeting here. And but since Corp Council notified us that that format for the pigs wasn't appropriate, and we disbanded that program, that now we have more time to actually meet here. So based on that logic, I'm in favor of meeting every month, because I think without anything else going on, every other month isn't sufficient to address issues coming up and get anything done. So those are my comments, Charlie.
Okay, I noticed we should be taking perhaps a motion to on the agenda to begin the discussion. So I'll take a motion first so that we can discuss this further.
So moved, Nancy.
And I'll second, John.
Okay, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye, or, sorry, you have to say your name.
I'm in favor.
David,
Nancy.
aye.
John, I.
Charles, aye.
Rose, I.
Okay. Sorry, I'm a little premature. Okay, so, my feelings were, we started with a monthly meetings when I first got on, and even monthly meetings. I think for some of the business that we're carrying on, just kind of like barely meets the continuity that we need, and the pace at which some of the items on the agenda move. So I that's my feeling. It should go back to monthly, but I understand the difficulties over the last couple of years with COVID, and staffing and what have you. And I'm not sure whether we've gotten back to full capacity on the staffing, or full institutional experience with the staffing as well, because we've had changes in staff. But I would like to get back at some point to a monthly meeting, particularly at this point, since the general plan is going to be up for discussion and decision making, I guess, fairly soon. So those are my thoughts. John, did you want to, or David, or Rosalind, you have any comments?
Yeah, I
John?
can speak. I just wanted to agree with everything that you and Nancy said. I'm for moving to monthly if we can make it work.
I agree with the monthly. I mean, I think you can get more things done if you do it monthly. I have to also let you know, I have a meeting at 1 o'clock. I'm so sorry. I have to leave by 12:50 today. But if we get notice ahead of time of when and what time the meeting is, I mean, that's, for some reason, I didn't realize it was a 2-hour meeting. So sorry about that.
Okay. Dave?
Chuck, this is David. I'm in agreement with monthly meetings. I also have I have to leave it at 1 o'clock also. I'm in Hilo right now. I have to travel back to Kona.
Okay, so you've heard from the council. I think it's staff now that we need to sort of hear from, and whether the monthlies are going to be possible, and if it's possible, how difficult that would be. And if the cadence is monthly, then do we have to agree today on what those dates are, or the timing is? And I think it would be reasonable to expect some kind of repetitious day and date and time of day and dates within the month, so that planning can plan ahead. So those are my thoughts. Mary Ann?
Okay. I definitely I can see the reasoning for why everybody wants to go monthly. I do want to say that it is that we have onboarded new staff. We're still onboarding. We are in a bit more of this transition period where we're kind of getting everybody accustomed to what we do as the CDP planners. Monthly meetings we can try. I want to also note that we could even do a bi-monthly and always leave the option to hold a meeting in that gap month. If like at the end of one meeting we feel that, oh, we could use the next month, and we could always fill in that way, and we can even have it reserved in all the rooms. That could be a scenario. If we really want to push for the monthly meetings, something I would like to look into is, how is this timing work for us? This noon meeting time, I think the priority when it comes to meeting times and schedules is what we can keep quorum at is a primary, then also other concerns, in terms of staffing, times and also even driving times, since we have to go out to Kona, in terms of not going too late into the evenings also. Ideally, these action committees meetings would be having community members, and more often than not, the evenings or later afternoons seem to be a better option for many community members. But also, now that we're offering these Zooms, these recordings, if these lunchtime meetings work well with the committee, that might help us for the time being to keep a monthly cadence with you guys. It's definitely something that we're not at capacity to offer across the board, so we have to be careful. I don't want to, that's just, you know, we'll give it a shot. We can see how it goes, and I don't know how the committee feels about an earlier meeting time than the traditional. I believe we were doing 4:30 or 5 o'clock before also.
Yeah, so can chair and vice chair work with you directly and try to, you know, we don't have to do it at this meeting, establish it, I think. But I think we want to get a sense for, you know, how that we can establish that cadence. I think
Okay.
the other things we've been doing over the last several months is saying at the end of the monthly meeting, we said, hey, we need to meet earlier. And then we've always been able to, you know, to get that meeting the following month.
Right.
But it's not at a, you know, at a regular cadence. It's
I would
like
love to have
whatever
a regular
fits.
cadence out of everything. Like if
Okay.
we do monthly and we have a regular cadence,
Okay,
it would be great if that's what the committee wanted. It sounds like we're going to lose quorum by 1 o'clock.
yeah,
If we wanted to vote on that, and even if the committee members say right now, if they're available at the 12 o'clock or the 2 o'clock hour or 1 o'clock, you know, what is, then we can just, I think that would be helpful. And then if we need to make an adjustment at the next meeting, we can also. But
okay.
how does that sound?
Yeah, Nancy?
This is Nancy. 12 or 2 works for me. I'm pretty available right now, so I'm flexible in that regard. So I'll vote for monthly meetings, and I'm flexible as far as time.
And I'm open.
Yeah, if we can get on a regular cadence, I can make any time work. The regular cadence would be huge.
Charles, I'm open as long as I can attend by Zoom. I'm pretty busy otherwise, so.
Great. Appreciate it. Rosalind?
At 12 is good, except, sorry, today was just crazy with the schedules.
No, no worries. But so you have something to work with, Miriam, and if we can't get to it, usually at the end, we schedule the next meeting, so let's but I think because we're gonna lose quorum, I wanna get to the next 2 business items.
I hear you. Yep.
If we can. So you know the county's feelings on, I mean, the committee's feelings on that. So please take that, and mahalo for being for accommodating. Okay, I think we need a motion to close this item and motion to open the next.
I'll make a
This is
motion to
Nancy.
close.
Okay, so we have first and a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying your name and I.
Nancy, I.
John, I.
David, I.
Charles, I. Rosalind? I think you're muted.
Rose, I.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so the next business item, motion to open that discussion. It's going to be on Senate Bill 2058 relating to neighborhood boards. I move that we open that item.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have
Open.
a move and a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying your name and I.
Rose, I.
Nancy, I.
John, I.
David, I.
Charles, I. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of turn this over to Nancy. She's done some research on this and is more familiar with the bill, I think, than I am. So Nancy, can you speak to this, please?
Okay, this is Nancy talking about the agenda item regarding Senate Bill 2058. with discussions we've been having the last few months with Port Council, and that maybe some of the way we are operating with subcommittee meetings and some of the other difficulties, not having quorum, and then people coming in, not being on the agenda, not being able to speak. I sort of stumbled on how they were operating neighborhood boards in city and county in Honolulu, and they have a much more flexible opportunities, I should say, compared to us. And so I did more research, and I discovered that in 2008, state legislation was approved that approved Part 7, I believe, of Chapter 92 of the Sunshine Law, that for neighborhood boards. And although it's you amend the Sunshine Law, it's supposed to be for the whole state. You could tell that it was written to accommodate those folks. And there's a little sentence at the end that says, and other neighborhood boards in other counties, but in 2008, they're able to get this major change for them that allows them, for example, to meet without a quorum as long as they don't vote on anything. Also, they can take public testimony on items not on the agenda, and also they can discuss public testimony on items not on the agenda as long as they don't vote on anything. So in some respects, it provides more opportunity for public input, because if we don't have quorum, for example, all the decisions have to be deferred till the next meeting, so that there's an opportunity for more discussion. So you can look at it that way, in a sense that potentially could offer more opportunity for discussion. So I contacted members of our House of Representatives and members of our Senate, and I talked to Senator Drew Kanuha, and he was willing to introduce legislation this session to tweak Part 7 of Chapter 92 regarding neighborhood boards, to give more generic language to also that would relate to us. It would create, instead of using the term neighborhood board, it would be community action committees or community outreach committees, I think is the generic term that would apply to all counties that have similar committees or boards. And also, instead of saying that they have to operate under a county commission, it could be county commission or county department, and we're running under the planning department. So the bill got introduced, and actually they're hearing a first hearing in committee today at 3 o'clock. And at the time when it got approved in 2008, it got overwhelming support, and obviously it got approved. And I think that if you read the purpose of neighborhood boards, it's very similar to the CDP Action Committee purposes. And I think it would be a really good fit, and it would help everybody, I think, if this bill gets approved. And so what I'd like is for us to vote to approve this bill, so that we have the opportunity as the Kona Action Committee for the CDP to actually submit testimony. We obviously missed today at 3 o'clock, but if it survives today, then there's going to be the need for testimony to support the bill, and I hope we can agree together that this is a good thing. I hope I was trying to speak quickly, so I hope it was coherent. So I'll stop for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Discussion from board members or committee members. I keep calling us a board or whatever, but sorry. Discussion?
Yeah, I just want to thank Nancy for pursuing this and researching it, I should say. And I think it's a really good idea too. Yeah.
Dave or Rosalind? Rosalind?
Yeah, I agree with Nancy. It is a good idea. I mean, like I said, you'll get more work done with that.
I
Thank you.
concur.
Okay, so I concur as well. Nancy, just for some clarity's sake, and maybe I should be asking the attorney, it doesn't really affect the action committee at all. It creates another body or outside of the action committee, or it doesn't supplant it, doesn't replace it. There would be nothing within the county charter or that we would have to pursue as well.
No.
In terms of changes, it's just state legislation that allows the county to do something. Am I correct?
That's my interpretation, that it would broaden the language in part 7 of chapter 92 that we could fall under by allowing, like right now, the neighborhood boards, there's no definition in state law of neighborhood board. So that was a mistake they made in 2008 right away, because there's no umbrella state legislation that defines neighborhood boards as a specific program. So it's only generic to city and county of Honolulu. So there's a new definition in this legislation that makes more of an umbrella terminology that would include neighborhood boards and CDP action committee meetings. That's the purpose of adding the extra definition in this Bill 2058. And so it allow us, because we have similar purposes of being, kind of community outreach board, to take in input from the community and also pass information back out to the community on what's going on the local level. And that's pretty much the purpose of the neighborhood boards in city and county. So that wouldn't change us at all. It would allow us to operate under that existing language in part 7, chapter 92. And maybe Corp Council, if you have an opinion about this one way or another.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Nancy. I'm not here to provide public testimony on this agenda item.
Well, you've got legal expertise.
Yeah, it's not clear how this is going to play out. I think that, as you noted, the hearings start today. And so we'll see how it goes and what the final wording is. There's been some discussion in my office about how this would apply or whether it would apply to our Kona CDP. So for us, that's an open question still.
So we'll have to hope for the best. Of course, it has to survive the state voting as far as a new bill. But the language is pretty simple and straightforward. If it didn't apply to us, I'd be frustrated.
Yeah, so I think what you're asking for in this meeting is to get a vote on supporting the AC supporting passage of that bill. And am I correct?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea if we're in a position to submit supporting testimony. If it survives today and it needs testimony further, it would be good to be able to support it from our perspective.
Yeah. So I would ask council if that's within the guidelines of the AC, only so that we don't step on our own toes.
Yes, if this committee wants to move and vote on whether or not to support this legislation, this bill, then I don't see a problem with that. And
Okay,
then, taking action and following through and offering that support should be fine.
okay, and we should be able to represent ourselves as the action committee when we send letters of support?
You said letters, plural. It depends. So are you thinking that the AC would draft and approve one letter that gets sent in the name of the AC, or that the committee members would send separate letters and say, I'm a committee member and a member of the community? It depends on the exact wording that they use and I guess, the way that they present it. But if it's just, every committee member is also a member of the community, so you could either provide testimony as an individual member of the community, or if you're approved and authorized by the AC today or at a future meeting to write and send in a letter of support, then you could do that on behalf of the entire AC. It just depends on, the wording of whatever gets approved. If it's one person sending a letter, or, multiple people are approved to send multiple letters on behalf of the AC, if that language is approved, or just one letter on behalf of the AC as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my next question is, I'm sorry, Nancy, go ahead.
I've already sent testimony and representing myself, and I think it's good for people to send testimony and representing themselves, but I think it would have more power if the AC as a body voted to send a letter from the group.
So how do we coordinate that without Can we coordinate that outside of this meeting?
I think you probably could set up a pig to do it. That would be authorized. Give me just a second, please. I think that should be okay if you set up a group that's authorized. Let's see if I have the language in there.
Okay, it wouldn't need more than the Kona AC on the February 6th meeting of the Action Committee, they voted to support Senate Bill 2058. I mean, to me, that's all that's necessary.
Right, but the letter, you don't want to have to come back and approve the letter, right?
Well, can we improve it in advance?
It doesn't exist yet.
Oh.
Yeah, so to avoid having to come back and approve the letter itself before it gets sent out, because that might take additional time, if we have to wait for another meeting.
Well, if there's a way to avoid that, that's the reason why we need to wait. I mean, we could blow our opportunity to testify. I know at past meetings when we wanted to send letters like to the planning director or whatever, we've approved it at the meetings and authorized the letter to go forward. The staff to write the letter. I don't know why we couldn't do something like that.
I think, well, that's what I'm saying. I think that if we have certain committee members that are authorized today by the group to write a letter, that group might be able to then meet and write the letter and send it out. I just want to look at the wording of the language of the statute, if I have it here. Sorry, I don't have it all memorized.
Yeah, it's, can we make a motion to support and then nominate someone present right now to write it?
Yes. I think so. Yes. That's my answer to you right now. Yes.
Okay, so maybe just for the sake of, so to move that along, does someone want a motion to support Senate Bill, what is it?
2058.
2058, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to support it.
I'll second it. Nancy,
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. So all in favor, please indicate by saying your name and I. Nancy first.
Nancy, I.
John,
John, I.
David,
David, I.
Rosalind,
Rosa.
and Charles says I as well. So I guess my second thing is I would nominate Nancy to do the letter. And I am confident she'll get the wording and et cetera, right? So I would not, require that. I personally need to review it, but other members may feel differently. Nancy, how do you feel about that?
Fine with me. I want to get it done as soon as possible. However, we can do that because these things move really fast. And
Yeah.
It's kind of counterproductive for a committee like this if we're so encumbered by these rules that, we can't respond in a timely manner.
Yeah, I'm guessing that if it gets through today, at today's hearing, it's because it's a committee hearing probably, yeah, and it won't get to full
Joint committee.
full Senate till just before crossover. So we have a couple of weeks at least, I would think, in other committees as well. But so is there more we need to be aware of, Michelle?
Yeah, so you did the first part. The board has adopted a position, so supporting SB 2058. And now if there could be another motion, basically what you just said, authorizing Nancy and defining clearly her scope of authority to draft and then submit the letter of support or whatever format, if you want to show up in person or whatever the board authorizes her to do. It just needs to be clearly stated in the motion what she's authorized to do to present the board's position that was already approved by the board.
So we need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make the motion that would authorize Nancy to write and submit the testimony on behalf of the committee for support of the SB 2058.
I second it.
So John moved, David second. I'm sorry, I should have that on the record. So any discussion? So all in favor, please indicate by saying aye and your name. Nancy first.
I, Nancy.
John,
Aye, John.
Dave,
David, I.
Rosalind,
Hi, Rose.
and Charles is aye as well. Okay, I don't know that we need any more discussion on this. Nancy, that addresses all your concerns, I think.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to thank Drew Kanuhas for responding and submitting this legislation. It was very sensitive of him to take the time to understand the issue and go ahead and submit introduce legislation. So we want to give him credit also. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, if there's no further discussion on this item, is there anyone from the public who may want to say any comments? If not, then I'm going to just move to close this, if I can get a second.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I, Nancy.
Aye, John.
Dave,
David, I.
Rosalind,
Hi, Rose.
and aye on Charles. Okay, so we're on to the general plan. So we need a motion to kind of open this up for business. No, we don't, maybe not, but let's just do that. So this is go ahead.
Sorry, this is Michelle. I didn't interrupt you before. I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but you don't need a motion to open up an item that's to move to the
Okay.
next on the agenda.
Okay, I was kind of like following something. All righty. So general plan, comments, discussion. We've heard from Chuck. Committee, any thoughts? Or were we supposed to get a presentation? I thought there was someone from planning department that was going to go through this with us.
I thought that's kind of what Bethany was doing at our last meeting. Yeah, that's correct. So no, it was kind of
Just discuss.
for us to discuss it, and maybe if there was something we were unified about that we wanted to send our perspective forward to the planning department as a group, potentially.
So that's no?
No, there won't be a presentation today. I think the intention of this agenda item is for the AC to discuss
Okay,
comments they'd like to submit.
okay. Committee, any discussion?
This is Nancy. There's obviously a huge amount here, then we're obviously not gonna have time to discuss it. I don't even know where, it's hard to even to begin with. I think we have 10 minutes before
Yeah.
we're gonna lose quorum.
Yeah.
My personal main concern that I thought it impacted Kona's, I felt that with the mapping, because the maps and the general plan have the force and effect of law, unlike a lot of the other rhetoric in the general plan, that I think there's a change to the general plan that especially in the urban part of Kona, the new land that's designated as high density urban, instead of high density urban, that should be designated as a TOD, like the TOD designations from the Kona CDP should be transferred over to the general plan. So instead of high density urban, there should be a new zoning designation called TOD, because just high density urban can end up in anarchy. It's not doing good urban master planning. And both the Kona CDP and now the general plan recognizes the value of the TOD master planning. And I think that area above the old airport that's now going to be redesignated as high density urban should be TOD and not high density urban. So that's the main thing and to do good master planning, it helps take the pressure off of everywhere else. And as well. It's not just urban planning. It also, if you do good urban planning and if you good housing options within the urban corridor, it takes pressure off of the areas outside of the urban boundaries. So it's another reason why it's important. And we have not yet started to do any comprehensive urban planning in Kona.
Yeah, when we go through this process of the review, this is for staff, are there going to be more questions that's going to be received, I think, during the process, or has sort of, is it more information sharing from here on out?
Good. I'm sorry, can you, you're asking if the general plan team will be doing more presentations or
And taking questions and concerns.
okay, so actually I'm gonna let Janice answer that question because there are other moments for public testimony in the process, but Janice can go down that timeline real quick with us.
Yeah, so March 1st is the close of the public review period on Conveo. After that, it will be more difficult for comments to be integrated into the plan if the later they're received by the planning department. But we will still be answering questions as they come in. I believe you can still email the general plan email to get an answer from our general plan team.
And also once the draft goes to the planning commission, that's also another opportunity for the committees and individual public members and members of the public to go and provide their testimony on once the draft that we have today, after this comment period, revisions will be done based off all this public comment, and then that new updated copy will be going to the planning commission. So that's another opportunity to be commenting on a revised and updated draft.
I would also add that the planning commission, there will be 2 hearings, the Leeward and the Windward. And then it will be submitted to council. So that's another process as well.
Yeah. If I may just ask, make a comment and in a form of a question too, and I'd like to assure that that's heard. I'm representing South Kona, so I see a lot of growth coming out of South Kona in the plan. And first, let me thank you all for the documents and what have you, because I see a lot of work has gone into it as well. I was a little concerned that they were using information back to 2013. I think Hawaii Island is a completely different place from where it was in 2013. Demographic, social, you name it. So with regards to the growth in Kona, I guess my question would be, are the zonings existing now that would allow for this kind of growth, or is there any changes to the zoning in Kona, South Kona, I'm sorry, that anticipates this growth? Because I just don't see that as being a community-driven initiative. It seems to be more like a landowner-driven initiative, or it's coming from more recent data. And so I'd like to understand a little bit more of that. And anyway, those are my comments. Thanks.
It looks like Rosalind was not present for a portion of that discussion. And if she's leaving right now, it's like 12:57.
Okay.
So perhaps closing the meeting, and then the board could meet as less than a quorum to discuss, but not vote on any matters.
Okay. So my question was not official record?
Well, I mean, it's part of the recording, but it wasn't discussed before the full board.
All righty. Okay, well, you heard it. So I guess we have to adjourn. At this point in time, we've lost quorum.
Well, she's still here, so you could still do the motion to adjourn and close up the meeting.
Rosalind's meeting now. Okay. Okay, well, if Rosalind's leaving, we're gonna lose quorum, so I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
Chair Young, Chair Young, just real quickly, I just want to say that I don't think the Kona Community Development Plan Action Committee has had sufficient time to adequately address this. It's very disappointing the planning department has not made a presentation and that there's not been better consideration for this once every 10 years, in this case, 15 years, document that only the county charter supersedes. So thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank
Chuck. Okay, we need a
Chuck,
motion to,
to
sorry,
leave.
any other comments from committee? If not, Rosalind, you need to leave, so. Yeah, you need to leave,
Yeah.
and David as well. Okay, we need motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, please just indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
David, aye.
Thank you, everyone on the call, and staff, thank you very much. I appreciate
As
that.
long as it's unanimous.